Hello, I wanted to talk again about UFOs. I've spoken about them before a little bit in I think one of my other Fermi paradox videos, but I wanted to go over it again. Whether UFO sightings can be taken as evidence that there are aliens visiting the Earth. I'll tell you now, my view after thinking about it is that they can't be, because ultimately it's just people talking, right? There are lots of photos, but they're bad. I'm going to talk about it a bit and see what conclusion I come to. I've just told you what it is. I'm going to tell you why. This channel is Alphatucana. I'm Martin Thompson, hello, and I do gameplay videos and vlogging about stuff like this, and I don't know what else, stuff, basically. Sightseeing videos as well. So, UFOs. My problem with UFO sightings, there's two really. One is, how come all the photographs are blurry and bad? I could understand it back in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 1930s or something, because the cameras were not so good. But nowadays everybody has like a multi-megapixel camera in their pocket on their phone. These phones are capable of taking good, sharp photos, and yet we see still even up-to-date photos taken of so-called spaceships which are no better quality in fact than would have been taken in the 90s, say. That alone tells me they are probably fake, and the same with the videos, especially the videos. And these days we have Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, I don't know what, with After Effects, that can produce serious effects on videos and can downgrade the quality of a floating paper bag and make you think it's a UFO, right? And I have seen paper bags floating about that look like UFOs. And I've been able to identify it as a paper bag, so there you go. It doesn't take much processing to ruin a good shot, to make it look more like a flying saucer. So that's one problem. If the phenomena were real, you would get some decent shots of it, especially these days when everybody has a camera. Okay. And there are some phenomena which are being studied. Some strange lights in Scandinavia. I've talked about it in my other videos. But they're probably not alien spacecraft. It's probably some electrical phenomena. But anyway, that's the first thing. If there was something going on, it really, and it's visible. If it's visible enough to photograph, it would have been photographed well by now, because millions of people have seen things they can't identify, right? And have taken photos and videos. Okay, that's the first thing. The evidence just isn't very good. The second thing relates to the statistics of how it works. I mean, everybody, I think, agrees that the majority of UFO sightings are mistakes. That is, people are bad observers. I mean, we consistently as human beings overestimate our ability to observe things that we know nothing about. It's just human nature for most of us to overestimate how good we are at stuff. Those of us who don't tend to get depressed. We have a more accurate view of ourselves, according to psychologists, and we're also prone to depression if we're like that. So those of you who have an optimistic view of yourself, be thankful. And for the depressed people, understand, you may be accurate about how you are, but it's not your fault. Okay, it's just the way humans are, and just accept it. I'm prone to it myself, funnily enough, so I'm kind of aware of it. And I think you just have to not bother thinking about it, because it's a waste of time. And it doesn't help. Fine, you've got an accurate view of yourself, an accurate view of the world. It's not such a great place. It's fantastic in certain ways, not such a great place in others. Very bad in some ways. Not your fault. Just, get on with it. But we consistently overestimate our ability to view strange phenomena. I have seen, I was walking across Jubilee Bridge over the Thames, one of the Jubilee football walkways across the Thames, near the Royal Festival Hall, and there was some object in the sky floating above the Royal Festival Hall in London. And there were people on the bridge going, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" and taking photographs and shooting videos of it. And clearly they were thinking it was a UFO. Okay, and it was dark, and the object was lit up. And well, actually, it was twilight, late twilight. And I looked at it and I thought, well, you can see from the way it's moving that it's tethered. Okay, it was swaying about and bobbing slightly, but with a definite max height and a maximum radius from wherever it was going. So clearly, actually, it was tethered to the ground. So we haven't identified what the object is, but obviously it's man-made, right? So I wandered over there and actually went onto the roof, and I could see that there was an art installation there. And this was some sort of glowing kite thing which they put up. Okay. But a lot of people went away from that bridge that evening thinking they'd seen a UFO, right? There's another one. Where I used to live, in the evenings the sun would be low behind my house, and looking over the distance there were some hills, and you could see disc-like objects floating across like that every evening. Well, not every evening, but sometimes, okay. And now I knew from the days when the light was not right for that actually what happened was seagulls fly across there every day in the evening. But when the sunlight is at the right angle, they look like discs, and the wings going up and down slowly like that sort of make it really look like a disc wobbling and going along like that. It's a fantastic phenomenon. It really does look like alien spacecraft, but it's seagulls. So that's just an example of two phenomena that people do think are unidentified flying objects. And yes, they're unidentified to those people, but they are not alien spacecraft. And I should just point out one thing. An unidentified flying object is not equal to an alien spacecraft. It's just an unidentified flying object. Unidentified means we don't know that it's an alien spacecraft. You can't say, or people do say it, but they shouldn't, "I don't know what it is, it must be an alien spacecraft." Wrong logic, okay? You don't know what it is, the end. Observe it some more if you can, right? Now, obviously, 95%, probably 99% of the things that people observe are mistaken. They think they're seeing flying saucers, but it's phenomena like this that they don't understand. They haven't seen it before. They are not thinking very well. They're not observing very clearly. You often get different people viewing the same thing and with totally different views of what it is. So most of sightings are clearly delusion, misunderstanding, hallucination. You know, what was that mushroom they had earlier? Has it given them a little upset? Things of this sort. Now, that leaves a residue. Let's pretend it's 5% of sightings which just cannot be explained. Often they can't be explained because different people have viewed it and are giving conflicting evidence of what they've seen. That in itself puts the kibosh on most explanations. But let's suppose, just for the sake of argument, it doesn't matter what the number is, but let's say 5%. So out of 1,000 sightings, 50 sightings, let's say, then unexplained, and let's suppose the unexplained sightings are alien spaceship. Okay, so we have, out of 1,000 sightings, most of which are rubbish, there are 50 genuine sightings of alien spaceships or robots or something scanning and observing our planet, or buzzing about anyway, whatever they're doing here. That's interesting, but every few years we get like a UFO flap and the number of sightings shoots up. So some years you might get 2,000 sightings, and if 5% are real, that will be 100 unexplained sightings out of 2,000. Another year it might be 3,000 sightings, 150 unexplained. Okay. Well, that doesn't, if they are real alien spacecraft, that doesn't make sense. Because if there are 50 alien spacecraft, or at least 50 times when they can be sighted, how does that affect the number of unexplained sightings, the number of delusional sightings? If there are, say, 50 alien spacecraft floating about being seen, why are there 1,000 unexplained sightings this year? And why then are there 2,000 unexplained sightings in a year where there are 100 spacecraft observing the Earth? They don't go together. The number of real spacecraft should not affect the number of incorrect sightings. The two should not vary together. If there are 3,000 sightings in a year, that doesn't mean there are 150 alien spacecraft viewing in this year. They're not connected at all. The aliens don't know how many seagulls people are misidentifying as UFOs, and they don't care, right? It's nothing to do with them. So what I'm saying is the total number of sightings should not vary, and does not vary, as a function of genuine sightings. The two are completely independent. The number of alien spacecraft floating about in any one year will not have any significant effect on the number of incorrect sightings that are reported. And the number of incorrect sightings obviously is not going to affect the number of genuine sightings. The two are independent variables. In one year we should get like varying numbers of unexplained sightings if there are varying numbers of alien spacecraft. But in fact the stats tend to vary constantly within minor, there's minor variations all the time, of course. But in a year where we have twice as many overall sightings, we also get twice as many unexplained sightings, roughly. So that leads to the conclusion that actually the unexplained sightings are also mistaken sightings, mostly. Now it could be a very small number of genuine sightings are there, 1 or 2 or 3, something like that. Small enough that the statistics don't reveal the numbers, but it has to be a very small number. And it will not vary according to the total number of sightings. So what I'm saying is that all the sightings that we do get don't prove the existence of alien spacecraft. In fact, they demonstrate that the phenomena probably isn't alien spacecraft for the most part. We can't rule them out entirely, but looking at the stats, they don't support the argument that there are alien spacecraft visiting the Earth. Or if there are, the numbers are too low to show up in the stats. Okay, that's all I wanted to say today, so put your thoughts below. Does my argument make sense? I'm interested to hear your views. Okay. Bye for now. Like and subscribe.